Hello, hello, my friends. We are back with Kris Kendall. Hello and welcome. How are you?
Hi there. Thank you. I'm great. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. So, tell the people a little bit about you and how you started your business and your journey through Silicon Valley and all the amazing things, building billion-dollar empires. Tell us about who you are, Kris.
Yes. Hi. Okay. So as you said, Kris Kendall. I'm born and raised in Silicon Valley. Grew up in Cupertino, right down the street from Apple when they were just, becoming a company. So really been in the thick of things my whole career and my whole life, and worked in lots of big and small companies. Mostly doing marketing programs. And I've recently branched off well, I've always had side hustles. I've always had businesses of my own, lots of streams of income coming in. But most recently, I have a publishing company, and then I've recently started a life and business coaching practice. So
Very
that's
cool.
yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah. So, with your publishing company, what type of things are you publishing for people?
So mostly I'm working with brand new or aspiring authors. So they're not necessarily career authors, but they wanted to write a book. So many people have written a book. Do it, and then it just sits on their computer because they don't really know what to do with it next, right? So I will work with them to. I have a lot of done for you services where I'll take their manuscript. I'll get it edited, I'll get a cover made, I'll get it formatted, and I'll even upload it onto Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Kobo, all those stores for
Mhm.
them in their account. So they get to keep all their money that comes in from it, but I'll do all the techie stuff for them. So
Oh,
that,
very cool.
yeah.
So, how long have you had your publishing company, and then before you segued into your life coach and to kind of took that path?
Yeah, so I have done the publishing for about 12 years now. It started with just a friend who writes books who asked me to help with some marketing and then help with some editing. And then that evolved to she's got some other author friends that needed some help. And it just sort of organically grew. And then, of course, after editing for a while, I started to think, I think I could do this. So then I started writing, and now I have lots of books of my own in addition to the services for others.
I love
Uh,
that. So, when you were working in Silicon Valley and you were living the corporate life, what happened for you to want to kind of change course and start to have your own thing in the mix? What was that like?
Yeah, well, I got laid off a few times. So that's one of the ups and downs of the
Yeah.
Silicon Valley life and corporate life in general, right?
Yeah.
And so along the way, I realized I couldn't rely on a company to pay all my bills and take care of my family, right? So I needed to have other backup plans and other things coming in. And so I have consulting services, and then I have this. Once I started writing and realizing that there's so many people who write a book and just need help with that last step, but they don't really want to learn how to do it themselves. They don't really need to learn that because it's not going to be their career. It's just something they want to do for their family, for fun, the story in their heart that they've, been working on for 30 years, whatever.
Right.
Uh, so I started just branching out part time, and I was doing this while I still had a full time job, and it wasn't until recently that I got laid off again that I realized I think the universe is telling me to like just go all in on the entrepreneur route because that's where it's reliable income. It's where I enjoy, you know, I'm so passionate and so excited about working with these authors.
Yeah.
Um, and then, yeah, so that's kind of where all of that evolved. And then now with the life coaching and the business coaching, that's just kind of an extension of it. I've been working and building companies, other people's companies up for so long,
Mhm.
really big companies. And now, at just a very small scale, working with individuals as they either are coming up with an idea and don't know how to start, or maybe they've been in business for a few years, they have a good amount of money coming in, and they just want to get to that next level, you know, hoping to climb to seven figures.
Yes, yes. I love that because there are a lot of times that people have this wonderful idea, and then sometimes it's just like a strategic issue, a strategic breakdown in the system where they don't know what the next step is, and we want to help them get to the next step right before feeling defeated comes into play, right? And then you're just sitting on this magnificent idea or the structure, a foundation for something, but it starts to become corroded over time because the self-doubt and all those things start to seep in because you're not equipped to go to the next level. So I really love that aspect of helping people get there, right? Just giving them that little push. Do you do much mindset work in your practice too, or do you do? Yeah.
I
What does
do,
that look
yeah.
like?
Yeah, so for so many people, just taking that first step, it requires a lot, getting through a lot of fears, a lot of insecurities, a lot of, kind of mind garbage that they've been told all their life, that they felt from others, that they witnessed from other people who have started things. And, not everyone has like positive influences in their life. They don't always have supportive people telling them, yeah, go for it. You're smart. You can do this. You'll be great. So they will often internalize that. And that just kind of will stop them from making forward progress. And this could be in relationships. It could be in their career. It could be starting a business or just, taking a chance and doing a hobby that they've always been interested. I mean, it can be at a big or small level, but there is a lot of mindset work that tends to go hand in hand with all of the transformations that we need and that we decide to make in life.
Absolutely. So, what type of who's your target audience? Who are
Yeah,
the
so
people that you're helping?
but right now, my company is called Fulfilled After 40, and I'm primarily working with women over 40 who are at this stage where if they have kids, maybe they're more independent or they've even left for college. They don't really need mom as much anymore. Maybe they are recently divorced or their changes happening in their relationship. They could be leaving a job, nearing retirement. They're just at this stage where like they're trying to figure out what's next. What do I do now? Now, I've spent the last 25, 30 years taking care of other people in this way. And now that I don't have to do that, how do I take care of me? What do I do? What do I love? How can I, secure my future financially? What are the options? And just helping them, figure out what they really love and want to do.
Yeah. So when you started to, are you primarily focused on women over 40 for your publishing too, or is that specifically in your life coaching realm? That is
Yeah,
women over.
that's just for the life coaching. For the publishing, I work with anybody. I've worked with teenagers and kids that have written books,
Oh,
and then very much older people that are, they've been working on it for their lifetime and they're ready to just have a copy in their hands and give them out at Christmas to their loved ones. So, yeah,
yeah.
anybody.
Have you written some books yourself?
I have. I've written lots and lots and lots of books. Yeah, I primarily do romance, kind of the cheesy romance stuff, but
You
it's so
said cheesy
fun.
romance.
It is, but it's so fun, and my readers love it. Not everybody would love it,
Yeah.
but I also have done some kids books. I have one series. It's called the CEO Girls Club, and it's for girls in that like 8 to 10 year old range
That's a
that
great name, Chris. That's
yeah,
a
like
great name. Yeah.
businesses. So it's really fun, and it just those are the kind of things that make me really happy, and I hope that other people read them and love them too. So
Do you know how many books you've written total, just off the top of your head, or is it too many to know?
it's more than 200. Yeah, yeah, a lot.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I've got one.
Okay, that's amazing. I mean, honestly,
I
that is
published
amazing.
one book. It's called the Entrepreneur's Checklist, and it's so funny because when I look back on, I essentially like wrote the book that I wished existed when I was opening my business, because we just had to kind of piece all this information, like
Yeah.
Google and Secretary of State, and just kind of piece it all together. And I remember thinking one day, I just wish there was like one book that was short and sweet, to the point, told me what I needed to do so that I wouldn't have to do this again. And I said, well, let me just make it.
Yeah,
So I created it.
exactly.
It's 25 pages, right? And it helps those people that we help, right, get to the next level. Because I'm a checklist person, like I'm
Yeah.
a to-do list. I have to write down my list and have things that I need to accomplish, things that I have to get done, and then other things that I could delegate, outsource, all these various things. But since I'm a checklist person, that's how I also wrote the book, right? So literally, it goes through the breakdowns. I don't tell you my life story. We're not going through all of that, right? So I think that sometimes, yeah, we just have to do it, right? Because I
Yes.
was so nervous before I released it. I almost talked myself out of it. So
Yeah.
that mindset thing that we have to kind of tap into, like I overcame it myself. I really I dug deep and I prayed about it, and I really just said, God gave this to me. I'm going to release it. Just do it. If people hate it, so what? But people love it. And I'm
Of
just like,
course they do.
I was scared for what?
Yeah, exactly. That's amazing. I'm gonna have to grab a copy. Maybe I'll give it to my clients. It sounds perfect.
Oh, excellent. Yes, yes. Fantastic. And I'm not a real romance reader. I'd like
That's
to, if
okay.
I'm not reading something that's teaching me something, this mind is all day
Yes.
long.
Good, good. And me too. When I'm the books that I'm buying to read they're all personal development,
But that
productivity.
outlet though, right? You
Yeah,
like the
exactly.
entertainment and the imagination. That's your time to kind of turn off and just create. So I
Yeah.
understand the aspect of it too. What other types of pastimes do you have other than writing these beautiful romance novels? Are you creating strategies for your coaching business? Are you thinking about how you can craft your messaging, or do you just go to a gun range? Like, what is your thing?
I don't get to the range very often, but sometimes. Um, but yeah, so I do spend a lot of time, especially right now, as I'm kind of changing up the model a little bit. A lot of time coming up with um, worksheets and offers and ways that I can, engage my clients in a way that is easy for them, that it's accessible, it's not too much work, but it helps them move the needle and get to the next stage. And I also have a podcast myself, and so I've been doing a lot of recordings lately.
Yay! What's the name of your podcast, Kris?
It's called Fulfilled After 40, the podcast, and I'm actually doing live coaching sessions on the podcast. So each session or each episode is a session with a different person and their situation. And these are real people with real challenges that we're working through. So it's been really fun to kind of build that content in that way. It's a little more intimate. Um, and so that can get sticky trying to not have people, bare their deepest, darkest secrets live on my show. I'm okay with it, but they might not be okay with it after the fact, right? So, but it's really fun.
What's funny is, I love workshops and I love hosting like online courses where it's live, and it gives people the opportunity that buy into the course to kind of express themselves and to ask questions. And I love when that happens because it inspires someone else who may have not even thought that before to say, oh, that's a great question. Didn't even think about that. And it puts them in a position to learn from someone else's experience. So you are essentially doing the same thing, where by doing the live coaching, you not only are coaching that person in real time, but you're also positioning the show to be able to help and inspire and help other women overcome adjacent or parallel circumstances. That's a fantastic idea. Yeah, so that's so good. Sometimes, we don't even know something is a problem until we hear it. And you're like, oh, wow, yes, that's me. Let's see what Kris says. And people
Yeah.
are listening because they're listening for a solution that maybe hadn't been articulated for them in the past, but now you've created an opportunity to where you're showing them how to overcome certain things. So are you doing life coaching where you're talking about strategic planning, or what's like the framework of your podcast when you're talking to your clients?
Yeah, so both. I do life coaching or business coaching, and a lot of times those kind of intermingle.
In a, yeah.
Yeah, mostly it's business coaching. I mean, most of the people coming to me are interested in starting a business. Maybe they have an idea, maybe they've kind of toyed around with something and just they're kind of stuck. They're not quite making money yet or making much money. But some clients come to me when they're at like I've made 100,000. It's amazing, but how do I get to 200 or 500 or eventually a million? Like what
Yeah.
do I do now? Like I know it works, but I don't really know how to get bigger. And so it just depends on where they're at.
Yes. What is okay? So, do you focus on any type of specific industry, or is it just anything business? Because the fundamentals essentially are applicable across the board. But do you tend to attract a certain type of client habitually in a certain industry?
Not so much. I mean, I've been working with a lot of coaches just because
Yeah.
I happen to know a lot of coaches that are getting started and at this early stage. But any industry, like you said, I mean, the fundamentals are the same. The getting your audience clear, getting your offer clear, getting your pricing right, making sure that you're putting yourself out there and all those basic kind of things. So really that's true for just about any industry. And I do have some consulting that I'll do if they need help. I've done so many businesses that I personally have a lot of experience in a lot of different things. So I can be like, okay, let me just offer some real suggestions of how I've done it in the past. But the idea with the coaching is to try to just help them come up with the ideas that work best for their situation. Do they like social media? Do they hate social media? Like, working within the things that they want to do and where their strengths are, so that we're
Mhm.
really maximizing their best characteristics, and the things that they don't like doing, let's figure out how to work around those, or outsource them, hire somebody, stay within their zone of genius and the things that they love.
You know what I love about what it is that we do? That even though the fundamentals are the same across the board, each experience has to be tailored based on that very thing that you just said. You have to look at well, I can sense you and I both evaluate the person holistically and what it is that they need. So we're looking at them as the whole person, as opposed to like giving them cookie cutter directions that we could essentially give to every single person. Some people are going to have some lessons be tweaked because of, like you said, they hate social media. So what does that look like? How are you going to ramp up your lead generation? Does that mean that you need to invest more in ad dollars because you really just want to shoot one video and run it till the wheels fall off until you're not getting any more engagement, and then you need to do something else? But or there might be the person that loves social media and maybe they come out with a podcast, or maybe they come out with something that allows them to engage with people. Maybe they do quarterly workshops. So even though the basis is the same across the board, we know the strategies to implement to help them win. We still have to tailor it to people's personalities because everybody is different. Isn't that interesting about what we do?
It is, yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's so funny. Yeah, some people they can just thrive in with a certain type of marketing, and the other, another person with the exact same kind of business just has to go a completely different route. And so, we just have to find that and make it work.
I know. So what is it that you love most about what it is that you do?
I love talking to people. I love doing this, the back and forth, just sort of learning about them and where their challenges are. And I've always been, like an advice person, in my life. I feel like maybe I should have been a therapist or something like that. And so I just love hearing where they're at, where they're struggling, the good and the bad, and then helping them see the good that they offer, their value, what they're bringing, and why they have what they need and what other people need, and just kind of bringing that to the surface a little bit, because for some people their value and what they have to offer is so deeply buried under so much other stuff. They just need that reminder that they are smart, they are capable, they've been doing this in their career for 25 years, they know what they're talking about, they have expertise and talent and skills that lots of people want and want to pay for and want to experience.
Yeah, you are worthy. I see that a lot of times too, where the mindset, the blockers, the limiting belief comes into effect, right? And helping people remind them. I don't do mindset work myself, so I have a certain threshold that when we evaluate someone in our preliminary questionnaire, that we evaluate where they are cognitively first and foremost. If it's a lot of self-doubt, then we recommend, we outsource them to a mindset person because we're more tactical, we're more strategic. It's like, this is what you need to implement. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So we can recognize essentially from the way they answer our questions whether they need to go to someone else or not. But it is amazing how much self-discovery there is in entrepreneurship and that journey, and how, like, I am a highly sensitive person. I consider myself an empath, but entrepreneurship has it's demanded a certain level of strength from me, and to have like thick skin, like they say. Like, I used to think that was the most ridiculous concept. I wore my heart on my sleeve, and I still to a degree do today. But I've also developed that skill of separating professionalism and taking things personal, so it doesn't really hurt me, Alexandria, as a person. I have to realize that's the brand, that's the company. It's not an attack towards me or who I am.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
having the ability to separate the two, that was a part of the mindset thing. But you know what they say, new levels, new devils. You have to be equipped for each new level that you reach, whether it's financially, whether it's your status, whether it's, the capacity for your team enlarging, what that looks like there, how you have to have the right bandwidth from that. It is so much. It encompasses so much. I said the exact same thing this morning of I think I was a therapist in another life, because I enjoy talking to people so much. Largely the reason why I carved this podcast into my time is because I love connecting with other people, right? And sharing
Yeah.
people's story and empowering them. But we do in coaching, we listen to people's stuff. We help them navigate those paths and overcome that so they could be the best version of themselves. You mentioned that is one of your passions, is
Yes.
helping other women pursue their interests.
Yeah, it's so easy for us to like forget that we have interests, right? We get so caught up in the other things and taking care of other people, and then one day we're like, oh, I don't really have friends anymore. I don't really. Somebody asks like, what do you do in your free time? And they're like, I don't know. I don't even know what to do. If I had 5 hours right this minute, I don't even know what I would do because I don't remember how to have fun. I don't remember how to, paint or go running or do any of the things that used to bring them joy. And so it's just a process of sort of reconnecting with who you are deep
Yeah.
down and the things that you love.
Yes, that's so true. And it's actually how I came to start writing again. It's because that was one of my passions as a child. You should have been a therapist because you're pulling all kinds of things out of me. So when I was young, I had, and even to this day, but it's mostly strategies now. I had notebooks and journals just filled with poetry and writing. Like, that was my pastime, and that was my kind of my therapy, the way that I would express myself. And I had so much poetry. I wish that I would have kept that stuff now today to just look back and see the type of things I, read or wrote in my adolescence. But essentially, it feels like you go through your adulthood and you end up always kind of coming back to who you actually are, right? Who you are in the essence of a being, of a person, the ways that you're gifted. And that's one of the things that I came back to was the writing. So I felt like, even though I was scared to release my first book, I also felt like I owed it to my younger self. Girl, what? Yes,
I know.
therapist. I'm about to cry for no reason. But you know what I mean? Because we do. We go so far. We stray so far from who we are as individuals. But isn't it beautiful when we get to help people come back to who they are, who they're meant to be, step into their power, understand their value, understand how to go to the next level. I love it so
Yes.
much.
Yes. Yeah, I get a lot of people that come to me and say, "I wrote this book when I was 17." And it's in a notepad, like it's in 20 spiral bound notepads, and they're like, "I'm
Yeah.
going to type it up, but then what? What do I do after that?" And yeah, those are the very best kind of clients because all
Mm,
they want is just to like have those memories, remember that time, get back into it, reconnect with the who they used to be, the things that they loved, the things that brought them happiness, and then, who knows where that'll take them next.
yes, isn't that exciting to usher them through that? And it's I think why you probably pursued publishing and coaching and all these various things, if I had to assume, is because it is taking someone from one level to the next,
For sure.
allowing them to tap into a higher level of themselves, allowing them, helping them, ushering, guiding them on that transition of their life of being who they are in their mind versus manifesting that version of themselves. That 17-year-old that wrote that book, who's now, how old were they when they came to you? Like 40 something,
Yeah,
30?
40s, 50s. Yeah.
Yeah,
Usually
40.
it's late. Yeah.
They've held on to it. They've thought about it. It's been in the back of their mind. Maybe 5 years passed. They raised a family. They thought about that book again. They got back to doing this, but they're like, no, I'm not going to let any more time go by. I'm an author. I want to move forward with that. So you help people step into who they are. That's
Yeah.
so exciting, Kris.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And I get so much out of it, probably as much as they do when their book is finally like published and then a stranger buys it, that feeling like
Oh yeah.
I did something and one person that is not my mom or my best friend paid money to have it. Like it's amazing to feel that.
Yes. That is so good. That is so good. My goodness. You're wonderful, Kris. You're wonderful.
Thank you.
And you have a softness and a loveliness about you that I can see resonates with your clients. And I'm so happy that you came on the podcast today and shared with you. Tell the people how they can connect with you in order to get your free coaching session. Make sure that you let everybody know, for our listeners that are watching, the people that will watch on the replay, and for the people that will listen via the audio on Spotify.
Yeah, so you can find me at fulfilledafter40.com, either 40 or FORTY. Both should work. And if you'd like to be on the podcast and have a live session, there's a button for the podcast. You can go there and request a time. And if you want private sessions that are not recorded for the whole world to see, I offer those as well. but but yeah, it is really fun, and I try to keep it a little bit, high level on the air so that people don't have to, they're not a snotty mess at the end of the show. But sometimes it happens. That's okay too.
So is it a visual podcast where you and your guests are seen, or is it just audio?
Yeah, I do both audio and video. So
Yeah.
you can watch the videos.
I love that. So yes, you guys, for a free coaching session from Kris Kendall, make sure you reach out to her at fulfilledafter40.com/the podcast. Okay. Oh, so my friends, it is now time for our prayer disclaimer. Now, we close out each podcast. We are a podcast that prays because we like to honor God for our abundance. So, are you ready? Are you ready? Go ahead and cut the music so we can honor God with silence. Fantastic. Yes. You ready, Kris?
I'm ready.
Lord God, we humbly come before you this day and we thank you for everything that you provide. We thank you for our amazing guests, the opportunity to meet so many wonderful entrepreneurs that all have a heart for helping, a heart for empowering other people, a passion for helping people be the best versions of themselves. I thank you for this opportunity to meet all of these wonderful people and to spread their word, spread their message, uplift their businesses, and allow them, impact them, empower them to impact even more people, Lord God. I thank you for this opportunity. I thank you for these guests. I thank you for the stewardship, the opportunity to steward this blessing. I pray these things according to the character and identity of Christ. Amen.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be a part of your show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone that is watching and listening. Thank you for joining us for Thriving Thursdays with Alexandria. Have a blessed rest of your day. Bye.